Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 93 of the Tiki Taka podcast. I'm your host, Peter, today joined by Cynthia,
Hi, everybody.
Patrick,
Hello.
Steven,
Hello.
and Bruno.
Yo, yo, yo.
Obviously, left Bruno for last. That was totally non intentional, you know.
Right.
Uh, anyway, we got a lot to get to. Four games. So we're going to get the more meaningless ones, I guess, the ones that we don't have to talk about that much
Not
first.
nice. Don't say it like that.
All right, the ones that, how do you want me to say it? They're the ones that don't matter as much for the podcast.
That's just not
They
nice.
all
They
matter,
matter to
Peter.
Patrick.
They don't. I mean, all right, for the Sporting cases, they do. All right, but anyway, Patrick is going to get us started with the game against Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, so for that game, we had the surprise from Jesus, the surprise he likes, which is to play three at the back with wing backs on the side. He tried to surprise Atletico with Patricio in net, Mathieu, Coates, and Pinto along the back. Midfield of Bataglia and Brian Ruiz with Ristovski and Acuna on the wings. Bruno Fernandes and Gelson Martins a lot closer to the forward, which on the night happened to be Freddie Montero, and you know, coming into the game, it was obvious Sporting needed a perfect unison to turn around the 2-0 deficit against a very strong team in Atletico, and I felt for the first 25 minutes it was really turning out to be something like that. Sporting were really good. They were definitely on top, and they were creating a few chances, nothing major, and that translated over to the rest of the game. But we were there and we were beginning to knock. We obviously got the goal early from Freddie Montero, which was a good push in the direction that Sporting needed to go into to turn the tie around. But then obviously there was also the injury quite early on to Jeremy Mathieu, which in the end meant that Jesus had to change things around, and he decided to bring on Petrovic, who, in my opinion, is a player who hasn't really settled into the Sporting dimension. He's not really a player who I feel is playing with the confidence that any club would expect of its players. So it was a bit of a misfit in there, and certainly throughout phases of the game, he went missing, and that Sporting that started the game also was a bit dim. Um, all in all, I think if you look at the game, I think it was a um, respectable performance from Sporting. We got the win against a good side. Obviously, it wasn't enough, and the damage in terms of mistakes was already done in the first leg. When we look back to the mistakes that Coates and Mathieu made, and the chances missed from Gelson and Dost and Freddie Montero more prominently. That the first leg was really where we paid the price. But no shame. 2-1 on aggregate, losing to who a team that's undoubtedly the favourites to lift the trophy. We'll take the defeat on the chin and focus on our other goals for the season, which will be to push up the table as far as we can, and hopefully by the end of the season crown our campaign with a Portuguese Cup win.
All right. We'll see how that goes. I don't know if you guys wanna add to anything to what Patrick said. I thought he was wanna, but I don't have anything to say.
He did guess the goal.
Oh yeah, I guess the score.
Yeah, good for you.
I said
You
it'd
said
be
it would
1-0.
be one goal, but not enough to do anything.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but the
Spot
truth
on.
was staring me in the face, and I just had to pull it out.
All right.
Sad part is about this tie is that Sporting's going to look back and like two infantile errors and they could have been in the semifinals.
Yeah,
Not to mention the half a dozen of opportunities that they had to score, and they didn't. They weren't able to score the second goal.
yeah, but it goes like that sometimes. Unfortunately, there are games where you commit mistakes and games where the luck just isn't there with you. Especially at at the highest level, you pay for those kinds of nights. But it's just one of those things. I think we'll have to move on from it. Obviously, it would have been nice to be in a semi-final or even go on to win it. I think Sporting are a club that should be, hoping to quite
And
soon win a tournament like the Europa League or something like that, or make good strides in the Champions League. That's certainly the level Sporting should aspire to be.
I don't believe that Atletico Madrid is going to win this competition. By the way,
Well, I don't know. They obviously lost 3-0 last
Arsenal.
night to Real Sociedad, and Arsenal are their next opponents. So Arsenal and Atletico Madrid are obviously, in my opinion, the two strongest candidates for it. And the other tie, we've got Marseille against Salzburg. Marseille's a peg below in my opinion, but also a very good side. Salzburg, the wild card. Um, if we're looking at the odds, it's between Arsenal and Atletico. I think Atletico are probably emotionally and whatnot. They're well drilled. They're a well drilled side, more so than Arsenal. And with with La Liga being out of sight for them, and they being quite comfortable in the top four, I think that they'll really knuckle down for the Europa League, which is a tournament they've won before. They love winning that tournament. All Spanish clubs, take that tournament very seriously. So, I think to me that's why I think Atletico are
but
the
don't you
favourites.
think that don't you think that they want or Arsenal wants to send Arsene Wenger well off
Yeah,
with the Europa
yeah,
League title?
yeah. But even then, I think Arsenal has its deficiencies, and as a follower of Arsenal as well, like I see them, and what they can execute a plan perfectly, but at the first sign of that plan not going um, as well as projected, they really crumble. And Atletico are exactly the type of team that often Arsenal face up against. It's like polar opposites. Arsenal like to play football. Atletico are far more rigid, and they look for their chances. Those are the type of teams that Arsenal usually pay a heavy
Struggle.
price against. So it'll be interesting to see. But I just think Atletico will come into the game as favourites. I still believe Arsenal can obviously beat them, but I just think Atletico are that bit stronger, or at least more stable.
Watch out for Red Bull Salzburg. Majority of this team was, or a lot of player of that team is the team that won the U19 Euro
Yeah,
with
you never know.
actually
Like,
the youth league, the youth Champions League.
yeah, you never
That Red Bull
know.
Salzburg team.
Like
Against Benfica.
semi-finals, everyone's there to make it to the final. When you're at the final, you have to win. So everyone has to be taken seriously. There's obviously a tier, but yeah, anyone can win it.
Josie is also saying that for Arsenal, the Europa League win. Oh no, and then he wrote more. Stop that. Means that they would go to the Champions League next season.
Yeah, obviously for
Correct.
Arsenal,
Place,
it's
so
key. It's not just about Wenger, but uh, Champions League is way out of the question for them in the league.
They're
But
in sixth place.
yeah,
yeah,
14
but they're
points off
only
the top four. I think.
14. I thought they were closer.
Nah, with a loss at the weekend against Newcastle.
Oh, right.
But yeah. So it is super important for Arsenal, but that they do have some big weaknesses, more so emotionally and mentally than anything else, and I do fear for that side of Arsenal. But Arsenal, even this season, they've put some good displays against like AC Milan and whatnot. And who knows what will happen now with Wenger announcing that he's gone? Like what that will do for the ambience around the club, perhaps. The fans will start backing the team a lot more, and the players will feel they have something to prove to whoever comes in to replace Wenger and all the critics that are still looking at Arsenal. Perhaps there'll be a shift there, but We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Mhm. All right. So if you guys are done, I think we can move on to the Liga game. Nobody else?
Yeah.
Right? All right. Well,
So
Belenenses Sporting.
yep. Take it away,
yeah.
Patrick.
Okay. So for this one, a familiar 4-2-3-1 that Sporting usually play. A few players coming back like Coentrao, Patricio obviously still in goal. Coates who was partnered by Andre Pinto. Jerry Matteo wasn't fully fit for this one. Neither was Piccini, with Rostovski still keeping his place at right back. Midfield of Bataglia, Brian Ruiz, Bruno Fernandes further ahead. Acuna and Gelson on the flanks, and Bastos at the top of the attack. And this game started with a bit of controversy. Obviously, with Belenenses getting their penalty after the referee consulting the VAR and whatnot. And
Do you believe that was a penalty?
uh, I don't, on the basis that a few weeks ago we had a similar shout on Bastos against Braga, in which Mateus comes out with his leg outstretched, doesn't get the ball at all, and whacks Dost on the shin, takes him down. And if any defender's doing that or whatnot inside the area, then the referee has to give a penalty for that. He didn't then, so to then have that decision um, multiplied and given in favour of Belenenses against us is obviously sour, but he gave it anyway, and Belenenses scored. If to take any positive from that situation, it was obviously Sporting's reaction. We bounced back quite quickly. Bruno Fernandes with a beautiful ball over to Bastos around the 11th minute. Put Sporting level, and Sporting were able to take advantage of the fact that Belenenses' defence was quite narrow. I think they were playing three centre backs anyway, so there was space around the outside of the centre backs, and that's where the second goal came from as well, from Gelson. To make it 2-1, so we made it 2-1 quite early, and we could really put that penalty decision behind us a little bit and focus on the game ahead. We go into half time with a 3-1 lead. Everything was very comfortable for Sporting, and Cunha getting the third. And then I think in the second half we sort of dozed off a bit. Perhaps we had our eye on the Porto game. We were trying to, it was a bit of just saving our legs a bit, and obviously that's a dangerous thing to do, because other teams that they want to win at this stage of the season. They want to take advantage of these opportunities that you give them, and Belenenses find themselves 3-2 behind, pulling a goal back around the 64th minute, and then obviously they get another penalty, which this one, in fairness, was a clear penalty for Belenenses, and Freddie, I think it was, who made it 3-3. So from then on, obviously, when you're winning 3-1 and all of a sudden it's 3-3, it's a bit of a culture shock, and you're there hoping that Sporting can do something to bounce back in the lead, and thankfully they did. It was pretty early as well. Not the most usual of penalties that was given for Sporting to do that. Obviously, an elbow from Hassan Yebdo on Dost. The referee, the VAR picked up on it, and I don't know. It's not a penalty that you often see, but there is obviously that argument. If that happens anywhere else on the pitch, it's definitely a foul, and a yellow card sometimes may even be a red, depending on the intent or the force behind the elbow that Yebda happened to plant on Dost. So Sporting were given that avenue to go back in front. We took it. Had another scare as well towards the end with a fluky cross that ended up hitting the top of the crossbar. I think Patricio still got a touch to it. Could have been 4-4 then, but a bit of a weird, crazy game. Lots of goals, a bunch of penalties, but most importantly, at this stage of the season, you just want to pack the games away and pack them away with wins. And Sporting were able to do that. 3 points. We keep our distance from Braga. We put a little bit of pressure on Benfica, and we're setting up our season quite nicely for hopefully what will be a final push onto second place. Who knows if by miracle first place becomes available? And as I said a few minutes ago, hopefully crowning off a decent season with the Portuguese Cup.
I love you, Patty, but your dream stinks.
Doesn't mean it won't happen.
I'm just saying, your dream stinks. I don't want to hear it.
That would be quite something if Benfica, after
No. Don't
get
even put
into
it
the
out
top,
to the universe. Shut your mouth.
fall back down to thirds.
No. That
Everybody's
would be something if Braga take over you, huh? Come on now. Stop it.
And I saw the press conference today from Rui Vitória, and he seemed very agitated. It wasn't a good look. I don't know if the pressure's getting to him a little bit.
I don't know if they had his water. Did he have his water bottle? He needs to stay hydrated.
It was very uncharacteristic. Sometimes it gets like that, but when he said that whole Subulada stuff and all that, from time to time he throws a moan. But yeah, it's not a good look, I think, for Vitória. Perhaps, we'll get to Benfica in a bit.
Thanks.
Yeah, we will, Patrick. Thanks.
Bruno, do you wanna? Since you asked him about it being a penalty, do you wanna weigh in any of the decisions? Since you're the most vocal guy.
I mean, first things first. I want to ask. I asked Patrick if he thought that the first penalty was a penalty. I also want to ask you. Do you think that was a penalty?
At the end of the day, I think so.
Okay, so my question to people, Cynthia, do you think that was a penalty?
I'm very naughty today. I didn't do the homework.
Okay.
Sorry. I can pull it up right now and watch.
Okay, you pull it up and watch. Steven, do you think that was a penalty?
I'll rewatch that.
I'm sorry?
So I'm going to rewatch it just in case.
Yeah, I think it was a penalty.
Okay, so my question is this. Anyone that says that's not a penalty, I invite them to watch the Moreirense Porto game and ask me what's the difference between the Moreirense Porto game and the Bolonense Sporting game. If you say one's a penalty, then the other one has to be a penalty. That's all I got to say about that.
Do you say it is?
Of course. I mean, when a goalkeeper comes out and misses the ball and punches the opposing player, it's a penalty. That's a penalty. The second one, the one on Acuna, I believe, right? Is that correct, Patrick?
Yeah.
That's a penalty. Now the question is that a direct red? Because he was going to goal. That's the big question. Third one is Yebda's penalty a penalty? Absolutely. We just talked about it last week with Fesa going in with an elbow. Well, if Fesa's going in with an elbow and that's a yellow card in the middle of the field, obviously in the box, it's going to be a yellow card and it's going to be a penalty. He was all surprised why he got a second yellow. Well, I mean, if it's a yellow card, it's a second yellow, you're going to be sent off. I thought in terms of penalties, Paixão was pretty good. Actually, he was very good. The only thing is, I think he missed a red card on Acuna, and I believe he also missed. Now, this is what, according to the media, the second goal for Sporting, which was the Acuna goal, right? Or is that the third one?
I think it's the third goal that people are talking
Okay.
The third one.
The third one is the one that they say that Ristovski, when trapping the ball, he trapped it with his hand, and then eventually it became a penalty. But that should have been called a foul. But VAR fell asleep at the bar.
Yeah, I heard about it, but I couldn't see it because they didn't show it on the thing. So I thought on
correct.
Show it. So
But I mean, all in all, a very entertaining game. It was a very good win for Sporting. They needed to win this game, especially knowing the result of the Clássico. And now they're 3 points, and they hold their destiny in their own hands in terms of trying to gain second place.
Mm-hmm. All right.
That's my analysis.
All right.
For all the naysayers that say the Moreirense Porto game, there was no penalty, agora toma.
I don't know what I said at the time.
I'll tell you what you said. You said it wasn't a penalty.
I think he could have gone the other way too.
No. That's not what you said.
I think Moreirense got lucky. Okay, but I'm telling you now. Like a lot of weeks later, I think Moreirense got lucky.
Peter, are we lying to the audience again?
No, but we'll get to the Zivkovic penalty, which I doubt you'll see.
Peter,
we're gonna get there. Hold on, we're gonna get there. All right. Shut up! Come on.
You're gonna get a timeout, man.
Yeah. All right.
Me or him? Because he's lying.
Peter for lying.
I'm not lying. Oh my God! All I said is now a bunch of weeks later, that Moreirense got away with it. He could have gone the other way. I still don't say it's a penalty. He could have gone the other way. So
Peter, no sejas assim, Peter.
Shut up, Bruno. All right, can I move on to the Benfica game now?
Oh man.
No, it was the Porto game, by the way.
No, it's the Benfica game. All right. Anyway, so Porto Benfica 1-0. I'll give the Porto lineup too. Okay, is that okay?
Wait, hold on a second. Can you repeat the result again? I want to hear that correctly.
Nope, that was your fault. You didn't hear it.
No, the fans are asking for it.
No, the fans heard it. The fans heard it the first time. You didn't hear it. It's not my problem. Bruno Varela was in goal. André Almeida, Ruben Dias, Jardel, and Alex Grimaldo across the back. Feza, Pizzi, and Zivkovic in the midfield, with Rafa and Sebi on the wings, and Jimenez up front, obviously, because Jonas is still injured. As for the Porto lineup, Casillas was in goal, Ricardo, Felipe Marcano, and Alex Telles across the back. Sérgio Oliveira, Herrera, and Otávio in the midfield. Marega, Brahimi, and Tiki up front. I'm not sure where to start on this one. So I don't know. Should I let you go first, Cynthia?
It's up to you. I don't know where to start either. It's a fucking.
Did you do your homework?
Yeah, I was watching this one and I was really upset after.
Did you need some tissues?
No, I don't cry. I think the last time I cried for soccer was when Ronaldo cried in 2004.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's a long time.
I don't really cry for soccer. I try not to, anyways. There's other things in life that are more important to cry about, and more real, paying your bills. Anyways, so these mofos. I'm just saying, like, these mofos make enough money, they don't pay my bills. But anyways, so if I'm going to get into it, it was a great game up into the subs. Once we got into the substitutions, I feel like we pushed the brake rather than continuing on the gas pedal. And for us to be at home and versus our freaking nemesis, it's not our rivals, these are our nemesis. It was annoying. And so everybody knows I'm Rui Vitória in. I love Rui Vitória. I can't defend this. I am super upset with him for this. And because I'm a woman, it's a woman's scorn. So I'm upset at Luis Felipe Vieira. I'm a little upset with the bench because really it's this freaking game. And I know I'm not like everybody else, but if the coach is like, oh, hey, Cynthia Samaris, you're going to go in, I'd be like, fuck no, get somebody else who's been playing. What has Smarty's been doing? Anyways, I would have been like, buddy, I need you to put somebody else who's actually going to make a difference. Don't. But what do? You're not going to tell the coach how to do his job, do you? I don't know. At what point can we tell him, like, what are you doing? Otherwise, like, I thought, I'm not even lying to you, 88 minutes in, I'm like, all right, I'm going to start fucking writing my tweets so I can word this nice about, I wanted the win, but instead I guess we're going to both just have a fucking tie, and this is how it's going out, and we're going to.
So you had to press backspace?
I actually just pressed X and delete the whole tweet. But then Herrera, which I'm not even sure that Bruno, we met Herrera last year, and I'm like, you son of a bitch, because he shook Mario's hand, and you guys don't know.
I gotta say, no, I remember you telling me the story, and I have to thank Mario now.
Oh, fuck
Mario,
thank you. Stop it!
Thank you, Mario, for shaking his hand.
All of a sudden,
you gave him all the luck in the world.
Oh God, no!
Good job, Mario.
No.
I'm gonna gift wrap you over to Olival, and you can shake everyone's hand.
And now this week, Herrera
Ah.
like scores an own goal, and Porto loses the game because of him, and he's gonna be like the biggest. No, like honestly, Bruno, though, if that happened, how would the Porto fans react to that, though?
He beat
Honestly,
Benfica. You know that there's this hatred. That's why I say it's a
no, yeah,
nemesis. It's not just a rival.
but what?
Well, hold on. Let me answer the question. The question is if Herrera scores an own goal and Porto loses,
Yeah, it costs Porto the game. They lose.
it all depends on what happens with the Benfica game. Because if Benfica also decides to drop points and Porto decides to lose points against Stubble at home, then I'm going to be pretty pissed off. I'd be pissed off either way. But
We'll send you
this season, I have to rectify myself because I've been the biggest critic of Herrera the last 4 years. This year has been by far his best season at Porto, and he's had more good games than he's had bad games. And you know what? This was a game in which he came up big. He has a knack for scoring big goals against Benfica. But we cannot forget what happened last season at the Dragão, in which he tries to kick the ball. Instead, he gives a corner, and then on the corner they give up the game-tying goal in the dying minutes of the game. So, and that probably was the difference in the season.
So
Well,
that's
he
why I
got you
just
back.
wanted to get the Porto fans' reaction on that. That's all I was trying to say. You know.
I mean, it really depends on what happens with Benfica, to be honest with you. But I'd be pretty pissed off. But he came up big.
All right.
Varela's still jumping around looking for the ball.
I don't want to fucking talk about.
All right.
Oh my god, why?
All right.
Like I sit
Well, we
here.
all know that Herrera is the biggest agricultor in Portugal right now. Plantou 60 mil milhões all in one shot, man.
I don't know why. All right. All right. So you want me to talk about it?
No,
Yeah,
I
talk
wasn't
about the
done.
first half. I
Stop
know you're going to say that you deserved it.
No, Bruno,
You
you
deserved the
should
victory because of the first half.
I was gonna. No, I was like thinking, and you started like talking. I don't want to say it. I'm like, okay.
but then I started.
Yeah. So, thank
No,
you.
Josie actually just to your point there, Bruno. Josie saying that Herrera was like the Energizer Bunny the last two matches against Benfica and Sporting, so he is stepping up for you. But for me, like I know a lot of people are upset about we didn't play the second half like we played the first half, so we didn't deserve the win and whatever. It was very close until those subs. I think the second half, obviously, it was lackluster energy compared to the first, but the subs like really put the nail in the coffin, And what I did want to say is like all the Benfiquistas, there's a lot of infighting right now, and everybody's just got to settle down, and we need to rally behind our team, and that's it.
I agree with you there, Cynthia.
Oh, thanks.
There's a
bud.
lot of in between. Like the club is divided at the moment. But no,
Well,
I'm being
it's
serious.
really
All kidding.
yeah.
All kidding aside, I mean there is a lot of pro Rui Vitoria and then anti Rui Vitoria, and right now they're clashing big time. And
Of course.
but I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think that the turning point of the game was the subs. I think the turning point of the game was halftime.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But the subs didn't fucking help, did they? Sometimes subs come
No,
in
that
and
just-
turn it around.
Yeah, that was
was
the nail in the
no
coffin. I
fucking
think that was the nail in the
Yeah.
coffin.
Listen, I genuinely think, first of all, that the Porto subs did basically nothing for them. I don't think Corona.
I disagree.
And Abubacar did too much. I'm down now. You'll be able to disagree. But the biggest thing with the Benfica is, first of all, I thought Samaris was a great sub. I thought that from that moment on, actually, Porto weren't as aggressive as they were before. I thought that he closed down the midfield really well, and he turned out to be one of those subs that would actually allow Benfica to attack. The substitution that I think makes absolutely no sense is taking off Rafa when he was the best player.
He's the only one doing something. Oh,
That
my
I agree
God.
with 100%. And taking off Easy for Seferovic is just uncommon and doesn't really make sense when you put in Samaris to hold the midfield and then you put in a second striker. Those are two, but one of them he hit it perfectly and almost because of that substitution, Benfica came out with the draw. But I'll get to my assessment of the game later. I just wanted to talk about the subs.
The only thing I wanted to mention, because a lot of people, actually actually, Steph said it too on the sporting pod about people having amnesia about coaches. I just wanted to say, we went from JJ to RV, and obviously you're going to lose. JJ was a stubborn ass man, and we were talking about it before the pod, but when he got things right, and he was much more aggressive. I find that RV will be passive in the second half, and we don't like that style of play, obviously, because
All right,
everybody's
so-
upset with it.
All right.
However, what I
How do we-
want to say, let me finish. What I want to say is RV has not given me that moment of wanting to kick him where JJ knelt down in front of the Porto coach. And there's a fucking photo. And rather than that photo following JJ, it's following Benfica. So that right there is why I will still continue to give RV another chance, because JJ got chances.
Didn't Lopetegui do the same at the Stadio de Luz, though?
No, he did the same at Blank.
Yeah, but Lopetegui was a different type of coach.
I swear he got down on
No.
one knee.
No,
I think he did for like a moment. Patrick, I know what you're talking about.
When Benfica and Porto played, like Quaresma was at Porto still.
Yeah.
Mate.
Yeah, no, he did, and it was like a weird, like, he went down and then immediately got back up. He didn't stay down like JJ, because JJ stayed
Was
down
this-
for fucking
Well,
photos.
that's redemption in my mind. I think Jesus.
Lopetegui. No, Lopetegui was only Avalonius.
I'm pretty sure too, but that's what I said.
No, I can confirm. I am 1,000% sure it was Avalonius.
Yeah, me too.
That means
I mean, I know that he did it at Blanense. I don't know if he did it at the Luz, but I know 100% sure that he did that play. Anyway, I just wanted to say that, to Cynthia's point, the people that are criticizing Good Vitória for trying to hold off for the result, I mean, Sérgio Conceição did the exact same thing last night in the second half too. And I mean, obviously, it gets to a point where if you don't think you're going to win the game, you try and not. All right, this is stupid to say, especially when they're playing at home. But that's exactly what you do. I mean, you hold on for the result that you were having. And honestly, Herrera hits that shot. Once every 10 times, if that. And I mean, honestly, the difference was that Pizzi missed a wide open goal in the final minute of the first half, and Herrera scored a beautiful goal at the end of the game. That is honestly the biggest difference of the game, because both teams had basically the same amount of chances throughout the 90 minutes.
No. Are we lying again?
No, I am being 100% honest. Benfica dominated the first half. I thought, what is this Porto team? They're terrible. I said it. I thought Porto were absolutely terrible, and Benfica dominated them and deserved to be winning. And
You dominated the
half,
20 minutes. You
No, I
dominated the last
dominated
20
the first
minutes.
half. I dominated the
it was
first
like
half.
45. But
No. Last 20 minutes of the first half is what you dominated.
Until
First 20 minutes was pretty much Porto.
no.
All right, last 25 minutes of the first half.
Picked up. Obviously, but the beginning of the game is always like that. The beginning of the game is always, the team settling,
feeling
into
each other out. Yeah.
getting the nerves out of the way. As soon as the nerves got out of the way, Benfica dominated that half and deserved to score at least one goal, maybe even more. And the second half,
One. What other chances did you have other than Pizzi?
all right, that shot of Rafa that was one inch wide. We had that great save by Casillas. We had that shot saved by Pizzi. We had three chances. That one goes wide by an inch. Another is a great save by Casillas, and another one was another good save by Casillas, but also
Inch wide. Which one is inch wide? The one that hit the post? The one that was. Yeah, that's a cross. That's a failed cross that actually landed. Turned out to be a shot.
At the end of the day,
Hey, if it was a goal, it would have been a goal. What's wrong with you?
An inch wide of it's still a clear goal scoring opportunity, because you went an inch wide of the post. And Casillas doesn't get there in time. He doesn't have the time to get there. So there's three clear cut opportunities for me. Benfica could have scored at least two goals. And Porto still had one chance basically, but I think it was wide. It wasn't really that close. In the second half, Porto had that chance.
No, Peter. That shot, if it's on goal, Varela was already beat. By the time he got down, the ball was already out. If that ball was struck on goal, ele estava mamalo.
But you went wide. But you didn't go close. I don't think you should consider it a real opportunity.
What are you talking about? It's a shot in front of goal. The only thing that he did was miss the goal. If he hit it on frame, Varela's getting the ball at the back of the net.
How wide was the shot?
It wasn't very wide. You're talking about maybe 3 yards wide.
3 yards is 3 yards.
3 yards wide. Like I
right.
said, if the shot was on goal, he would have been picking the ball back
right.
out of the back of the net.
And the other shot that I was talking about, Rafa, if it's on goal, because he's speaking out of the back of the net. Anyway,
I don't know.
so in the second
How
half,
come
I think
everybody
Porto
has
had
Repeticio and Casillas and we have Varela? Fuck.
Because that's what you wanted.
No, I don't want it.
Whatever. At the end of the day, it didn't matter that much. I think you guys had that chance with Brahimi. That was a really good shot in the second half, obviously. And then I don't really remember a lot of them.
Marega, andala, follow the Marega, andala, follow the
Nobody wants to talk about
Marega.
Marega.
Oh, Marega, that one where you completely shanked it and Varela got there. Yeah, that one.
That one.
And I'm pretty sure that there weren't any around that. So I think honestly, maybe Porto would have one more chance, but he would still be like 3-4. And I think the game was super even, and both teams basically dominated a set of time. Probably 25 minutes, 30 for Benfica, 35 for Porto, something around that. And the game was extremely even. I think people don't notice that. I don't think the substitutions for Porto's side did too much for them. I think Benfica
No, when Abubakar came in, he made a difference because then what Porto was doing was they were attacking the center backs in the second half, and Benfica was having a lot of trouble. They were playing very direct playing right at the center backs. They weren't even looking at their fullbacks. They were playing right at the center backs. And that's when he put in Samaric because he saw that Porto was getting a lot of chances through the middle because Brahimi was also showing a lot through the middle. So he wanted to add one more guy in there to help out Fesa. So he threw in Samaric. So that's when Porto started to once Samaric came in, they started looking back outside again. And that's when they were shaking things.
They weren't as aggressive, right?
Porto. No, it's not. They were still aggressive because we were controlling majority of the contest.
They weren't still, but
because you had the boo birds. There was a lot of boo birds in the Stadio de Luz. They were getting pissed because you guys couldn't get out of your half.
But at the end of the day, they weren't creating the opportunities that they were before Samaric.
No, there were no clear-cut opportunities. I mean, I would have to agree with you. There was probably 3 or 4 chances for either side. And there wasn't really big saves or anything like that, other than the Casillas one. And you can say Varela because if Marega had a better touch,
but Marega kind of ruined the shot. Yeah. So.
He did. He ruined the shot. But other than that, I mean, it was a good, entertaining game. Was it well played? I think it was okay.
There were moments.
It's like
there were moments. It was a thing, I'm pretty sure. I mean, at the result,
is it just me?
Really...
Yeah, no, he is.
Okay.
You cut out a lot.
Are you driving?
No, he's probably.
Yeah.
Okay, but your internet.
Don't go under the tunnels, man.
No,
we lost you for a bit.
It was a very.
I know what he's saying.
There was a lot of.
Yeah, go ahead.
It is what it is.
All right. Okay. All right. So honestly, from my point of view, this game was, it ended up being a little bit of luck, like everybody needs. But I mean, I was expecting Porto to score. That's why I wasn't as mad. But
we still got to hear Steven and Pat and what they feel about the game.
I know. Steven, what do you got to add, buddy? A minute to unmute his microphone. Freaking ahead, bro.
Don't hate. Congratulate.
That was a great shot. You just got.
We did. We shook his hand last year, man. For fuck's sake.
Thank you, Mario.
No.
If I meet you, I'll kiss your hand.
Actually, you might in July, but anyways.
Are you going to come down to Red Bull Arena?
We're doing a week-long trip, and we're going to the New Jersey. I think we're going to.
You guys are going to come down.
New Jersey game, yeah. But I told him if we do a week-long trip, I want to pass by and say hi to Steph and Bruno.
Yes, you can. Well, if I'm here, I don't know if I'll be here. No, I'm being serious. I may not be here.
He's
All right.
such a pain.
Well, guys, I think this isn't something you discuss during the podcast, though.
Yeah, watch me.
uh, Steven, are you here? If he's not here, we'll move on to Patrick.
I'm here.
All right. So, what did you think about the game?
Patrick, stop stroking your cat, please.
As far as the first half, Benfica had most of the control in the first half. Game was still pretty tight for both teams. And then, obviously, as you guys pointed out, the second half is when the game before the second half started was when the game changed. And I think we got that Herrera goal. Obviously, it was not supposed to be that play. It was just some sloppy defending in the back, and no one's able to clear it out for Benfica. And then Herrera got his foot on the ball, and he was able to score. So I think it was a good win for Porto. A little bit of a luck, and I think both teams played all right.
All right. Let's hear from the neutral one, Patrick. What did you think about this one?
Right. So, what I saw was obviously a game played by moments, and there was moments where Porto, I think, come in to the game a bit scared of what could happen, fearing the defeat, and there was obviously moments where Benfica started feeling that way as well, because it's part and parcel usually of these big games. You put the respect on the big team's name and try to be cautious about what you do. I think Porto started like that, and Benfica quite quickly, they come into the game head on and started playing their football. And for a second, because obviously Porto, I would admit, for the large period of early 2008, late 2017, Porto were probably the team that was playing as they expected to. So therefore, their plan throughout the season was working best. But I felt like the last month in particular, Benfica were the team that sort of edged it, and they were, in my eyes, the team that was most informed, with their play being the most fluid and whatnot. And I thought for a second that would be the telling difference, and that Benfica, who, in my opinion, in the first half, were on top, that they could find a goal and perhaps change the course of the game. And probably that chance was it was definitely the Pizzi one, which he just it was a shot that was asking for him to direct it one way or another, and he hits it straight down the middle where Casillas happens to be. There was obviously other chances, but if those go in, every Porto fan slapping Casillas around the head, because you can't concede those. The Servi one and the Rafa one and all that. That obviously moments in the game, but things that Porto should have covered, and they did. So, but in that first half, Benfica were the better side. In the second half, I thought maybe Sergio Conceição realised, let's not be cautious, because obviously it could have gotten us in a bit of trouble, and we're not dealing with the situation as well as we should be. So the message I got was that Conceição said to his players, let's just go out there in the second half, let's just be us. And that's what they did. Porto's line was a lot higher up. They were a lot more in Benfica's face. And they turned the tide. I thought Porto were the better team in that second half. Still, for the dominance that they managed to collect for themselves, they didn't really create the chances that they'd require to go in the lead. And obviously, that's when I think Rui Vitória started thinking, "Hold on, let me shut the door a bit." The only disappointing thing with that is, of course, that he brings on Samaris, which is a player who is a lot more defensive minded than the others. But in turn, you take off a guy like Rafa and Servi, who, in my opinion, were the most lively outfield players for Benfica at the time, particularly in the first half. And that sort of stuff, it almost invites a bad moment, or some bad energy into the team, and that moment came in the final minute with Herrera. I remember the play. I think Fazer was a little bit lost chasing out of position. Samaris tries to cover for him, and by the time Grimaldo makes a clearance, it's Seferovic who's got his back to Herrera, and he has no time to stop Herrera latching onto it and smashing one into the net. It's a pretty normal situation to happen. It happens millions of times every week, so there's no blame to be pointed there. But Herrera's got a great shot on him, and he showed that and got the win for Porto in the end. Obviously, a lot of people are upset with Vitória for what he did. If I was a Benfica fan, I'd just be upset that he perhaps didn't look to find another way to hurt Porto. He sort of just went. Okay, to me, it felt like he just went. Porto are waking up now. We're top. Let's just calm down and shut the door. And by doing that, he took off two lively players. I'd just be annoyed at the fact that he invited Porto a bit in my eyes. But I think Benfica fans need to calm down essentially because.
Don't tell me how to live my life, Patrick.
No, look, Vitória came in, and this is a trait that it isn't exclusive to Benfica fans, but Benfica fans are particularly good at throwing their toys out the pram whenever defeat comes along. And Vitória came in.
Did you just say throwing the toys at the pram?
Yeah, not you in particular, but generally Benfica fans.
You just call us a bunch of toddlers. That's what you just did.
They like to turn on their managers. It's just look. How many times have we been in this situation? Vitória came in. I think the very first game was obviously against Sporting in the Super Cup, and Sporting won, and immediately there was like a thorn in the relationship, and then further down the line, you lose to Sporting in the Cup and in the league, which is obviously not ideal, but it was things were heated, and there have been moments between then and now where at the first sight of hold on, we're gonna mess this up, like a pocket of fans are right on Vitória's
it's not
back.
It's like half the fans. It's like half and half.
Well, I don't know the magnitude of the split right now, but
to be honest, I'm one of few for
I'm pretty sure it's like 75-25 that want to.
Yeah, it's bad.
I just think that when obviously you take over a club, and I think the first season I can't remember how many points Vitória's Benfica were behind Sporting, and you managed to recover and win the league and play. They still played some top football. Well, obviously you have to play top football to win the league.
Leftover of his brain, yes.
Yeah, but do you
guys remember that?
Credit. I would say that it was to a degree, but credit to him, he found some other solutions when things went wrong, and then that was Vitória's work,
exactly.
Like taking a new direction. And then the second season, he did the same. Winning the league. When you win two titles on the trot, and as of right now, you're so close to a third on the bounce. What would be Benfica's fifth? To then turn your back on the manager a little bit, like right now at such a critical moment of the season. Like if I was a Benfica fan, I'd be disappointed to be seeing that happening.
But the thing, Patrick, the thing with the Benfica fans is that a lot of them are stupid and they don't like Vitória. I said a lot of them. I didn't say you, Cynthia.
I know, no, but you can't call people names. That's how things are going to happen. So don't do name calling.
The way that they're acting is stupid. Like, I'm sorry, but it's true. Anyway, they're
not stupid. They're burros.
Ultimately, I just
thanks, Bruno.
Hold on, Patrick, because I just want to tell you why I think this. Because the thing is that they hold on to the hate from Rui Vitória, and whenever he fails something, they aren't afraid to go ahead and say, "Hey, I told you so. He's not as good." They take that pleasure.
They've been quiet for how many games in a row?
They want him to fail at the end, and that's what I hate about the Benfica fans. That in the end, some of them want him out, but a lot of them want him out and want him to fail. But they lack the understanding of when he fails, we fail too, because these losses are our losses. That's why I get fans wanting him out. I don't get going at his throat and saying like, oh, I said that he wasn't as good and he always does this and yada 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 when he sporting in one of the most crucial games the past couple of years when with that Mitroglou goal. So it's like it happens
Two
every
back-to-back Gimenez games we won last year, right?
It's just
Gimenez is not an easy team. I don't care what you guys want to say. I don't think they're easy.
and listen, I don't know if Rui Vitória should. I think maybe he should have another year. I don't think a lot of people would like that, but
Yeah,
honestly,
definitely.
JJ got it after kneeling. Yeah, he gets another year. Sorry, everybody. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. He
And-
also does the youth, which JJ did not do, and that's what LFV wants is youth. So why would LFV get rid of him?
yeah, and another thing that pisses me off is that the Benfica fans that were throwing the towel after the game, and that's why I went to Brian and I said, I'm going to rip y'all a new one because you guys are overreacting. Because listen, Sporting fans are they're not out of the race. All right, as a normal
They're
fan,
back there and they think they can still come in first. Why the fuck are we not saying that, guys? Come on.
You're only 2 points behind. And listen, Porto played a wonderful season. Yet they lost to Belenenses where nobody expected them to lose, and they lost to Passos where nobody expected them to lose. They have
losing
4
that
games.
one game that got cut in half.
They're losing. They have 4 more games. They can lose one of that game that nobody expect. Everybody expects Porto to win all those games, and they might. And
Now, Peter, I will tell you, I understand annoyance at that because why do we have to wait for them to lose? You know what I mean? It just sucks.
But the thing is that Porto weren't going to win that game if it wasn't for. All right, listen, that was a lucky strike at the end of the day. And while PZ failed an opportunity that nobody...
Would another goalie have saved that?
I don't
No.
think
Ederson. Do you think Ederson would have saved that?
I don't think even they... All right,
No.
so saying that he could have saved it, I don't think De Gea could have saved it. I don't think anybody could have saved it. Honestly, personally, I don't think anybody could have saved it.
I just think...
I say that. Go ahead.
I just think we have to look at the difference between everything being fine and everything being a disaster, like with this situation at Benfica.
Well,
and what
he
we're
was
looking
winning, and they all stayed quiet, and now he lost, and they're all back with pitchforks and ready to go.
The difference essentially is this game that we just had, Porto Benfica, which was a Benfica Porto, which was a very tight game. It could have gone either way, and even if we look at what's being pointed at Rui Vitória, which was his changes. You have to sit back and agree that to a degree it worked. Porto weren't really creating, that chance that would give them, a clear-cut opportunity that would give them the win. At the end of the day, they concede a very normal goal in the 90th minute to Herrera, and lose the game. But every team loses games.
But they're our nemesis, and it was at home, Patrick.
Yeah, but they're your nemesis for a reason. Porto are Benfica's nemesis because they're a top team and they compete with Benfica every single year. You have to expect that some games, when you come up against a good team like that, you're going to lose.
Patrick, you know what the problem is? I'm going to tell you what the problem is that you guys don't realize. Porto has more wins in the new Estádio da Luz than they do. They have double the wins than Benfica does. Benfica has not beaten Porto since, when was it, 2014?
Yeah, so who's got a witch on tap?
Rui Vitória has never beaten. Rui Vitória has never beaten Porto.
But at the end of the day,
this is the problem. I agree with your entire analysis, Patrick. Your analysis is spot on. But the problem is that it's the rivalry that these guys are talking about. He just can't win the big game. He can't.
But listen to me. If you give me a contract that said Benfica would win the league and lose every single game to Porto and Sporting, I would sign right below it.
Of course you would. But it sucks.
Like obviously, I want to win at the Luz. Obviously, I didn't want to lose that game, but it was a toss-up at the end of the day. If Herrera tries that shot next week against Setúbal, it could go way to the stands.
Why did it have to be Herrera, man?
Not even that. Brahimi yesterday.
No, I hate Brahimi. Don't do
Brahimi 2 days ago, right? He had that chance to give Porto the tie, like right near the end, and the shot went like what 2 inches wide off the bar.
Yeah.
So I mean that could have happened against Benfica. So that's why I don't like the fans because the game at the end of the day, it was a game that just it went down to luck too. You have to have luck to win.
It's footy, and this is why we all watch. It's just we were on the shit end of the stick today.
Exactly. People need to calm down on the Rui Vitória hate.
Well, you've been in the shit end of the stick the last.
You are the shit end of the stick, Bruno.
No, ironically, the shit end of the stick between.
Appreciate that I just called you the shit end of the stick for a minute.
No.
Okay, go on.
The ironic thing is that every year that you've lost to Porto, you actually won the league.
Exactly, mofo. Bring it on.
But at the end of the day, I mean,
Peter just told you
I
still deal with the devil. Lose to Porto, win the league.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's going to last for so long because fans are getting tired of it. Listen, like you said, he read the game room.
But if Benfica wins the title again, you're not going to say, "Oh, we fired him because he lost to Porto at home." Like, there's not a premise where you go ahead and say, "Hey, Rui Vitória." Let's say that he's like Benfica manager for 5 years, and he wins the league every 5 years. All those 5 years he's champion, but he loses every single game to Porto. Luis Xavier isn't going to come out and say, "We fired Rui Vitória because he can't beat Porto." I mean,
yeah, we're not even talking about a game where, for example, Sporting came to Estádio da Luz a few years ago and beat them 3-0. It was just a late winner. Like,
yeah, exactly.
We got totally dominated on that one.
That's those are the margins.
It was crazy nerves. It made me sick to my stomach. And then fucking Herrera. And I'm like, God damn. And it was like 89 minutes. I'm like, come on. Ugh.
Obviously, there's a historical context there with like goals and Porto and that. Which
yeah, we scored. We got that over with when we scored at the Dragão in the 92nd minute with Lisandro. So to me, that's more than industry.
No, not really, because the last couple of years you still have to deal with Porto scoring late goals.
You're just so great, Porto. You're just so great.
All right, but can
we all didn't we beat you guys?
That the league isn't.
We'll see you at the end of the title there.
To Porto, that Porto isn't, guaranteed to win the title. Can we at least agree on that?
No, it's not guaranteed. This is footy.
There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee yet because there's still 12 points to play. You have one hard game left, which is the Sporting game. We have 2 hard games left.
Exactly.
That's the reality of it.
Yep.
And Josie is saying that Sporting's not conceded a goal at home in the league action for over 1,000 minutes, and that's what Benfica's coming up against. Thanks, Josie.
Yeah, but those stats, you better be very. You can tell Josie that those stats are very dangerous because they usually bite you in the ass. Because Benfica was on a 9-game. Hold on a second. I agree with what you're. I know what you're gonna say, but just hear me out. No, but what Porto was going into Estádio da Luz where Benfica had, was it 9 straight wins? 9 straight wins?
Something like that.
Maybe.
Okay. They were due a loss.
Maybe.
And Porto got the win and Benfica lost. So when you have those type of statistics where you haven't conceded a goal in X amount of minutes and all that other stuff, you better put that right out the window because they usually bite you in the ass at the end. Now, I think Sporting has one more game left away, right? First? Isn't this week away?
Oh, wait, no.
We're home this
no,
week.
they're home against Boa Vista.
Yeah, there's 2 more games. There's 2 more games before the derby.
So Boa Vista home, and then away game, and then Benfica, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Boa Vista game, I don't think Boa Vista has enough firepower to score on the road, but you can assure that Benfica game, don't be surprised Benfica starts winning that game 1-0 right from the get-go. They get an early goal. You concede an early goal because you have so many minutes, and trust me, the press is going to be all over those minutes. That statistic is, it's a statistic to be proud of, but at the same time, that's going to be something where that's bulletin board material for an opposing team.
I was actually just going to say, like Han Solo, never tell me the odds. Never tell me the numbers. It doesn't matter.
What a Star Wars geek you are.
Oh, don't worry about it. Thanks, bud.
I am too, so it's okay.
All right, there's 3 of us here. Good.
No one asked you, Peter.
Okay.
It doesn't take away your red velvet fandom.
Oh, here we go. All right. Well, Anyway, can we move on now to the final game of today's episode then?
Steve spoke, Patty spoke,
Cynthia, you're
everybody
making
got
him
it out.
choke.
No,
I
I
know, right?
actually
Get 'em all pumped
because
up.
of yesterday's pod too. Anyway, Patrick, do you want to give us the Sporting and the Porto lineups, and you give your assessment first, and then Bruno, and then we weigh in at the end?
Mhm.
I can give the lineups and then let the Porto boys do their assessment first, since they lost and all that.
I forgot how cold Patty was.
Yeah, so
You got
Sporting.
got some competition. Go ahead, Patrick.
He's
Sporting
hanging out with all those
coming to
cats.
this
He's getting
one.
cold-blooded.
Yep, that's the one.
Getting
Patricio
what
in goal.
it is.
Coentrão, Matteo Coates, Piccini along the back. Midfield of Battaglia, Brian Ruiz, and Bruno Fernandes. Acuna and Gelson on the wings with Bastos up front. Porto changed a little bit from the Porto that we saw against Benfica. Back four of Casillas with a back four of Alex Telge, Mercano, Felipe, and Ricardo. Midfield of Hector Herrera, Oliver Torres, and Otavio, Brahimi, and Maxi Pereira and Ricardo Pereira on the right. And then up front was Tiki and Suarez. So yeah, Porto boys, what you got to say?
I'll let Steven go. Is he there?
I don't know. I think
Yeah,
so.
he's there. He's there. He's coming. He's coming. He's coming, bro. He's coming.
All
Give
right.
the man a break. He's working, man.
Yep. Go ahead,
Oh.
Steve.
All right. As far as the game, obviously it was going to be a close game for the second leg. Not surprised by the result. I'm disappointed as a Porto fan. I think both teams had chances. We just weren't clinical on that side. And then obviously going to penalty kicks, it could go either way. And we just didn't have any luck as far as penalty kicks in this game.
That was a quick assessment. Bruno.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I couldn't get a good feed for the second half, so I watched a lot of the first half. Actually, I watched all of the first half, and I watched all of overtime. Second half, I had no feed. The feed was just absolutely garbage. The first half assessment is basically like this. I thought that Sporting came out very similar to the Benfica game. They came out, they controlled most of the first half. Porto was kind of just feeling them out, containing them, kind of seeing where they were at. Sporting had a couple of chances, nothing special. In my opinion, I don't think Porto had anything special other than a shot from Otavio and maybe one or two other shots that went wide. I thought it was a game where it was like very mustigado in the middle. Second half came around. Although I couldn't watch it, I was listening to it on TSF, and it seemed like the game opened up a little bit more. It looked like Porto was trying to attack Sporting. They felt that Sporting was a little tired, and I think Sergio Conceição tried to roll the dice a little bit and try to attack a little bit more. But nothing practical was coming out of those attacks. And then, of course, and I kind of called it. I felt right at the Benfica game that Marcano probably should have sat the bench for this game. And, obviously there should have been a lot of changes. I didn't agree with the lineup. Do I agree that Casillas was in goal? Yes, that should have been it. I don't think Van Aert could play. He hasn't had any minutes this season. Why you got to throw him in a semifinal on an away game?
Okay, hold on. I got a question. What happened to Jessa?
Well, that's the thing. Like Jose Sa, I think his confidence is shot. And again, away game against in a Clássico, very dangerous.
He wasn't even on the bench against Benfica, was he? I don't think so.
The last time I saw him was when he got the red card for yelling at the ref.
he hasn't been on the bench. I mean, Vana has been on the bench, but that's insignificant because we could tell that they're going to ride Casillas all the way down until the end. Um, I didn't like Maxi at right back. I thought this was a game in which Diog Dalot should have been the starter. Um, and it's proven Maxi can last for about 60 minutes now at a high level, and then he just completely drops. And you can tell that Sporting saw it, and they were attacking him all over the field through that channel. He didn't have the legs to keep up. I thought that Reyes should have been the starter. I did like the change in the middle. I did agree with that Sergio Oliveira probably should have sat the bench. I did like that Oliver Torres deserved to get a start. Here's the problem. Torres didn't do enough with the start. So that's another issue that we've been having with him is that he's so inconsistent. I agreed that Otavio should start no matter what in this game because he's seen his fifth yellow against Benfica. He's going to be out on Monday. So why not start him anyway and rest somebody like they did with Sergio Oliveira? The starters up top is the one thing I'm just confused about. Why Wariz? Why would you not put him in this game? They went with Brahimi, which you have to play him. They went with
Tiki
King Suarez, which I can understand that why Suarez was the starter. I was a little surprised, to be honest with you. I really thought that he was going to put Abubakar as a starter. And then he had, I forget who the other one was up top.
Ricardo.
Oh, Ricardo. And we saw that Ricardo as a winger, that's not the position for him. I think where he produces the most is as a fullback, not as a winger. Again, this is where I feel that we had a lot of confusion. We had nothing from Ricardo Pereira the whole game. He was basically -1 because he just doesn't seem so comfortable anymore as a winger as he does versus a fullback.
He did a lot during the Benfica game. Maybe he was tired.
He did. He had a terrific game against Benfica. But yes, and you are correct. There was fatigue in there. Fatigue. He looked tired. The guy was tired, and you could tell that he just was nothing. I'm sorry.
He played Sunday against us, and then Wednesday again.
Yeah, I mean, and now, by the way, you're playing 2 games, and in the second game, you have to do double the running because you have to play attack and defense in the midfield, so you have more terrain to cover. So I didn't agree with that move there. Could you put a Corona? I would have said no. You had a Marega on the bench. If it's true what Conceição said, that if he used him for this game, that he would lose him for the rest of the season, then you know what? He shouldn't even be on the bench. Just take him completely off the bench. If you're not ready to play, you can't. If you're not good to play, then you shouldn't play. And then the last guy, I thought that maybe a Paciencia would have been the guy. I really thought Wariz was definitely the guy. If you're going to compare our roster, the guy that comes closest to Marega is Wariz. And in France, he used him. He was primarily used on the right. Conceição has been using him on the left. I don't see what the problem is. And then, of course, you don't even have Paciencia on the bench. You have him up in the stands, which makes I just don't understand the options. Basically, what I'm trying to say is Conceição did not learn from the mistakes of Rui Vitória just a couple of days, 3 days after their game. He did the same type of substitutions, and it cost him the game.
Stubborn Portuguese thing.
Was it a lucky goal? People can argue it was a lucky goal. To me, I saw Marcano against Benfica. He looked very shaky. He had a lot of cuts that went straight to the outside of the box, in which Benfica players were just gathering the ball at the top of the box versus clearing it as far as possible. There was a lot of issues. Porto didn't do enough to win the game. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to blame anybody else other than Sergio Conceição. I thought he lost the game based on the lineup. He lost the game based on the substitutions that he made. He lost the game on the strategy that he used. And at the end of the day, we lose to Sporting on penalties. and it was a well-deserved loss. I mean, how could you not learn your lesson from your opponent, and then you go do the same exact mistake 3 days later? I just don't understand.
Uh, Bruno, can I just like ask you about Marega though? Because that thing is like kind of getting to me.
Go ahead.
So he starts against Benfica, and at one point when Abubakar comes in, right? I think he's taking off Marega, and he goes ahead and takes off Swatch. So he leaves Marega in for the 90 minutes against Benfica, and then he tells the fans that if he played him against Sporting, he would have lost him for the season. Then did he rush him against Benfica? Like did he like we have to play Marega against Benfica no matter what? Do you
I
think?
think the strategy. I think the strategy with the Benfica game was they were going to do everything possible to recover him for that game only. And then what we're going to do as best as possible is to try to recover him for these upcoming league games.
So how do you
Now,
feel
are
about
you
that though? Because imagine that he played
listen?
and
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because, but the what I'm not okay with it, Peter, is his options against
right.
Sporting.
But the thing is, listen to me. Is that you guys? You remember when you lost the Passos, and I guess
Yeah,
you had Marega, you guys wouldn't have
we
lost.
didn't have Marega.
You
We
said,
didn't have him.
I know, and you said, yeah, if we had Marega, probably wouldn't have lost that game. So imagine that you do win this game against Benfica, but you lose Marega for the rest of the year, and then there's one of those games where you think, oh man, if Marega was playing, we wouldn't have lost this game, and we ended up dropping the title to Benfica because Sérgio Conceição put in, Marega when he shouldn't have against Benfica. Like that's a real risk. Did you not think about that? Like, does that not bother you?
No, because that was a vital game. I mean, you have the opportunity. So you're basically playing a season in one game. It's a one game season right there because you have the opportunity. That's your last chance in the you control your own destiny in that game. You win, you're in first place. You lose, you're 4 games out, and you need to have Benfica slip twice, which is going to be very difficult. So you had to play whatever you could. You had to throw all your cards out on the table for that one game. So I agree with that. The game that I don't agree with is Sporting. If he's not opt to play against Sporting, then take him. Don't even put him on the bench. You have other guys that are on the team on the roster that are more than capable. Maybe not as good, maybe not as influential, but they're at least fresh and they're healthy to play against Sporting. And I think that one option, which is the Wadi's option, I just don't understand. I mean, the kid has not been called. If you look back in the last 4 or 5 games, he has not been an option. I just don't understand why. I think the last time he appeared was against Bas Freire. That was the last game that he started, and he hasn't shown up since.
All right. I just don't want you. I just want to hear. I don't want to hear you complain then if Porto, drop a game and if you can't say if we had Marega, I just don't want you to say that.
Well, one thing is having Marega playing against Benfica and not playing against anybody else. Because remember, if let's just say he doesn't play against Stubble and we drop points, I mean, then what did we do there? That was all for nothing.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Is that I don't know if you needed Marega that much to play against Benfica and win that game.
No, we did because you can tell the difference. Benfica, Grimaldo wasn't pushing up in the second half.
Obviously, Marega is the better player, but it's just that thing that I don't know. I'm just gonna say if I'm a Porto fan, or imagine that I'm a Benfica fan and we play Jonas against Porto and we end up winning, but we lose Jonas for the rest of the season. Man, it's still it's like you lost your best player for one game, and
it's a very similar. I understand it's a very similar situation, but the difference is what is really going on with Jonas? Is it really his back? What's really going on there? Because if you're having trouble with your back, you're not jumping around scoring, celebrating a goal at the 90th minute the way he was. And if you're having back problems,
that the fact that with 1 week of recovery, he was set to start against Porto. I don't know if you saw that, but all the newspapers were saying he's ready to start. But with 2 weeks of recovery, he's not even going to be on the he's not even going to go to studio. I just that's
Well, I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it is, Peter. He has to clear out his system. He needs some time to clear out his system.
Send him some red velvet. Move on.
All right.
His system is a little his system is a little compromised. He needs a little more time before he can fazer xixi no copo.
What are you implying is crazy? But anyway, it's besides the point.
Tem que fazer xixi no copo. Ele tem que fazer xixi no copinho.
All right. Well, Cynthia, what did you think about this?
I thought it was more even than you guys, obviously, because you guys are all going, it was one side, it was this and that. But for me, I found it to be very even. Yeah, Sporting won 1-0, but that was to tie the aggregate score already. So it was super even to me. And then, I mean, the added time, there was nothing happened. The extra time, nothing happened. And then we had to go to PKs. And before I go into the PKs, though, why was Philippe wearing a Suarez jersey halfway through the game? What happened?
They like he actually grabbed the wrong jersey, or someone must have gave him the wrong jersey because he wanted some players, I think at halftime what they do is they usually change jerseys to a dry jersey. Some guys are like that, and he must have grabbed the wrong one, or the equipment manager must have gave him the wrong one. Now
because the equipment manager ripped it from his arms, looked like he was giving him shit.
Well, because you got a yellow card for it. And by the way, the yellow card is wrongly given because
why?
It's very
Suarez
simple.
Was on the field.
Hold on a second, you're not listening. You have to descobrir, Cynthia.
All right, go ahead.
The issue with that is this: what you can be given a notice by the referee. So, hey, Peter, you actually have the wrong number that you're registered with. Go change your jersey. And if Peter refuses to go change his jersey, then I can issue a yellow card. So Porto has already reviewed the game, and there was no such warning given by Jorge Sousa to Philippe to get to go change his jersey.
He just went up to him and just gave him discretion.
No, it's not. It's you have to give the warning first. Yes, you have to give the verbal warning first. Hey, Cynthia, go change
your own name. Am I the only one?
No, because listen, you could be in a rush. No, you listen. There's a lot of you could be in a rush getting back on the field
on the halftime. That's your business. Get your shit together. You should know your damn name. You should know your number. Look at your shirt before you put your clothes on.
How many times have we seen that? That's one in a
first time I've seen this. That's why I'm like,
5
this guy doesn't
million
know.
Games. That's like 1 in 5 million games. I mean,
exactly. So toma lá, here's the card. What are you doing?
If you're expecting Porto to get this game to be replayed or something like that, then
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. Peter, eu não sou como tu. Eu tô aqui chorar.
All right, whatever.
And then, so that made me laugh. And then with the PKs, I just wanted to say that Alex Telles was a machine taking his penalty kick. He walked up, he didn't make eye contact, and he just scored it and didn't smile and walked away. I was like, holy shit, this guy. So props to him. Obviously, it didn't end well for his team, but he did a good PK.
He got a goal. The only one that didn't score was Marcano.
And the only thing that I found extremely interesting is that all defenders took the penalties, and I was like, "What the hell is this? Is this some kind of strategy or what?" I just thought it was funny to see Marcano, Felipe, Reyes, and Alex Telles take penalties. And I was kind of surprised, like the whole defense is going to take the penalties. I don't really have anything to add to what you guys said. I mean, honestly, the only thing that I want to say is that I felt like Brahimi was totally gassed.
Yes, he was. I'm sorry. I don't like him, so it makes me laugh.
I don't like him, but he was totally gassed. And, I also, want to say what I said in the Benfica game was Brahimi had that chance right near the end. That goes in, Porto go through too. So, that little bit of luck that Sporting got with, their shot hitting the post and going in, and Brahimi's going just wide. And then, obviously the penalties are up to the ability of the players, and Marcano missed his opportunity, and Sporting went through to the final to play against Desportivo das Aves. All right.
Força Aves. I like underdogs. Sorry, guys.
Well, just so you know, Braga has already equaled Sporting for third place.
All right, how much did they win by? You know?
2-0, I think.
2-0.
2 or 3.
2-0.
All right. Who was it against? Maritimo, right?
Marítimo.
Ay, Jesus Christ, Maritimo. All right. So I think we got to give out the predictions unless you guys have anything else to
I didn't
add.
say anything about the game.
You didn't say
Oh,
anything.
sorry, Patrick. Go on.
Yeah, man.
Totally.
Jeez.
What have you been doing? Petting them cats. That's what you're doing.
I've been
That's
listening
right.
to
That's
I've been
right.
listening to Porto's tales of woes
right.
and all
Oh,
that.
so
No, because he said.
Bruno, did you see him contact you in the chat? He's like, "Hey, what's up, man? When you guys lost the PKs, he messaged you like 2 minutes later. I was like, you're cold."
It
Patrick?
has to be done, mate. I'm
Yeah.
expecting the same back when the time comes. It's all good.
No, I'm not that type of guy.
The game is
I'm
a
really
game,
not.
man.
I,
The game
No,
is a
no,
game.
Patrick
I
did.
don't.
I totally.
I'm not. I'm not. I mean, even noticed. In our chat, I didn't really talk smack about Porto beating Benfica.
No.
It was.
Nah,
I
it's
was.
cool. You gotta
I
let it
was
fly
just.
sometimes.
I'm not the guy to talk trash unless you talk trash first. But
No,
don't
I
worry,
haven't.
Patty
Patrick.
did it. Patty did it.
I didn't talk trash.
Right.
I just said, "Hey, Bruno, what's up?"
It's a little.
With a cheeky smiley face. We saw it. We
I know.
saw it.
I know what he wanted, but he was getting attention from his cats. I didn't want to really interrupt.
He was getting.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Patrick. Tell me what you thought about that.
Well, real quick. I think Sporting suffered again. It's a struggle to play against Porto when you don't have William because Porto are a team. I say this all the time. They like to press high, and if you don't have a player that has the ability to, turn a shoulder and receive the ball on a half turn, try to pick different avenues with an accurate long ball, whatever, you're gonna find yourself in a spot of bother, and that's everything that William is for Sporting. But Taglier can't do the same thing. Brian Ruiz is very good technically. He can receive the ball well and all that. But you saw in the game like how slow he can be, and obviously that was troublesome for Sporting trying to get out and actually progress their play when Porto pressed so highly. I think the only thing that Sporting could have done differently there would be to call Bruno Fernandes to play deeper. I know we all like to see at Sporting we all like to see Bruno Fernandes play a lot closer to the striker because he's a goal threat and he's a lot freer there. But I think Sporting lacked a bit of structure to actually do anything. So with that in mind, I'd give the first half to Porto. But second half, particularly when obviously Coentrão came off, Acuna dropped into left back, Brian Ruiz was a little bit more comfortable on the left. And when Ristovski came on, who had a great cameo, Sporting really got their stuff together and started to pin Porto back. Obviously, Porto defending the lead, that in a way they invited that sort of pressure on because they were trying to close the game out in their own way. They brought on Diego Reyes and all that to fit in at DM and perhaps who knows later on slot in a 3-man, 5-man defence even. But yeah, Sporting tried their luck. They pressed on and they got their goal through Coates, which I was delighted with at the time. And into extra time, it really, to me, it was all Sporting. The only thing saving Porto was Herrera. Herrera came to play a lot closer to Abubakar, who came on in the second half. Even he looked tired to me, and Herrera was still going. Like he was on a different level. So if it wasn't, in my opinion, if it wasn't for him, I think Sporting would have had Porto locked in their own half and pressed even further. We had a few chances. I think there was one with Gelson. Similar chances to the goals that we actually scored against Belenenses. We had one with Gelson. We had one with Bruno Fernandes where the ball got stuck under his feet a little bit. He managed to get it out his feet, but then he shot it straight at Casillas. So we could have killed not killed the game off, but put ourselves in the lead before eventually going down to the lottery of penalties, as they like to say. But it had to go down to penalties, and obviously both teams have good penalty takers, and it showed a Sporting win with one miss coming from Porto's end. I wouldn't even say it was a bad penalty. I think there were worse penalties that happened to go in throughout the penalty shootout than what Mercan did, and he hit the post, which is as unfortunate as you can get, especially when Patricio gets anywhere and doesn't get as close to the ball as a goalkeeper would want. So Porto
he
will
went the
obviously
other way.
yeah exactly. It is what it is. Penalty shootouts, you go in there. You always need that element of luck, and Sporting got it for a second time over Porto to set up a date with Desportivo das Aves Jamor. So we'll see what happens there. It would be nice to win a second trophy at least this season. So yeah, I was pretty happy with it all, and it was really a nice moment for us to kick on with our season. Done.
Sorry about that. I forgot that you said to let the Patricios go first, so it was like completely. Anyway, I missed that. Bruno, do you want to rebuttal anything that he said? Anybody else want to add anything?
About the game?
Yeah, just there's anything.
No, I have nothing else to say.
All right, so we'll move on now then to the predictions, I suppose. We only have 3 games to predict, right? Because there's no.
Yeah, there's only 3. It's normal this week.
Miracle. All right, so I think the first team that plays is Benfica, if I'm not mistaken. They play tomorrow. What is it, like 3:30 US?
Estoril hosts us at 3:30. Yep.
Look at that. So Cynthia, you go first.
I'm hoping we get a 2-0 win.
1-0 Benfica.
1-0.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. Patrick.
I'm gonna go 3-1 Benfica.
All right, cheers. Bruno.
I'll go last.
Okay, even.
I'm gonna go 2-0 Benfica.
All right. Go
1-1.
All right.
Oh, boo.
Of course, he had to be the pessimistic one.
Of course.
No, I'm more the realistic one.
Of course.
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
you
do you
are.
want to add? Do you want to tell your fans that Vitor Andrade, whatever his name is, got a red card from the bench last week, and the 50% pass holder did not allow them to play against Casamign?
Cool. Okay.
Would you like to tell that? Would you like to tell the fans that, or no?
Think that I
think
care?
you just did.
Do you think that Kleber, when he always seems to get, seek somehow before playing Porto, you want to tell that too? I mean, man, come on, let's move on from this.
No, he was hurt. He was hurt.
Yeah, before that. Yeah, sure. All right. Anyway, I don't know who plays next.
Sporting then host Boavista on Sunday at 3:15.
So for that game, I'm gonna repeat the dose and go for 3-1 Sporting.
Steven.
2-0 Sporting.
All right. I go 4-1 Sporting.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Cynthia.
I'm saying you get an off day. Y'all are going to have a tie 1-1.
That would be good, wouldn't it? Bruno.
Sporting Boavista, right?
Yep. In Sporting.
In Sporting. Really?
Just in case.
2-0.
All right.
2-0.
Okay, and then Porto hosts Setúbal on Monday at 3.
All right, so I guess let's have Steven go first then.
4-0.
Epa! You just added your other 2 scores.
True. Bruno.
I'll go last.
Bro, you're all right. You're messing up the thing. But
I'll
whatever.
go first. Fine. I'll say 2-0 Porto.
You would go second because Steven already said 4-0. But anyway,
Bad
Patrick,
deuce.
I'm gonna go with Bruno 2-0 to Porto.
Cynthia.
I'm saying 1-1. You guys are effing up. Come on now.
I don't know what to say.
You got a 4-0, 2-0, 2-0, 1-1.
All right, so I'll be the anomaly and go ahead and say 1-0 Stubble.
Epa, that's even better than a 1-1.
Exactly. But Porto win against Benfica, they have their fate in their own hands, and then they lose it right back, losing to Stubble.
And then Felipe is again wearing a Suarez jersey, red card. Man Bun does something, another red card. Maxi Pereira looking like Caillou, having his head wrapped, bleeding on the side, red card.
All I need is an Edinho winner, like 97 minutes. That's all I want.
Foi Edinho que explodiu.
So there you go. 1-0 to Stubble. That's my prediction. Totally not biased at all.
Not at all.
All right.
Getting an Edinho jersey.
But in the Benfica, right? But Benfica with Edinho on the back. Why not?
Maybe.
All right. Well, anyway, I want to thank Cynthia, Bruno, Patrick, Steven.
Are you not covering the
What
questions?
Oh!
Sorry, you saw them, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. The ones from...
what kind of host? No, I'm kidding.
I'm sorry. The ones from...
you were too excited about Edinho. There's 2 from Josie about RV, and then 1 from Neil. Actually, I didn't double check the Neil one. You should double check.
Oh, what happened to Neil? What happened to Neil and his double hat trick by Jonas?
Oh, he wants to take you out for a beer, buddy.
Oh, coitado.
He wants to be friends with Bruno, just so that you guys can, go at it all the time.
I'm trying to see if I can find it.
Neil got a little upset with me on the Three Tukas podcast.
Neil got a little upset with everybody. You're kidding.
Well, at least you guys didn't block him, so.
And calma com isso.
I'm not saying. No, I'm saying.
We're saying nothing.
I can't find it. Do you have it? 'Cause I'm trying to see.
Give me a second. No, you just have to search Neil. For whatever reason, if I search anything that I see Neil talking to, it doesn't show up. But if I look at his profile, it shows up.
Yeah, I gotta look there.
Twitter, thanks for that.
Somebody's
blocking Neil.
If you have whatchamacallit, if you have the first questions from Josie, you could tell him.
That's on the hashtag Tiki Taka.
All right. So
sorry,
Neil,
I'm on Neil now.
First asked Bruno for, can me and Bruno go for beers?
If he's going to tell me his plan on how he's going to become Benfica president, I'll consider it.
All right.
I'm voting for him. What do you mean? What's his plan? I'm here.
Oh, you're gonna vote for him too? Oh,
hey,
man.
I didn't get my vote in for LFE because I received the voting details like a day after the vote happened. So I was like, thanks, LFE. Way to make sure I can't. So I'm a little bitter.
This is what you need to do. I'm really liking the fact that you're voting for him, because this way you don't even need the police or judiciaria to come and drop you guys' division. Neil's going to do it all on his own.
Oh, that's just not nice. Now you're being mean.
I'm not being mean. I'm being realistic.
No, you're being mean.
Have you listened? No. Have you listened to his ideas? You have to listen to his ideas for
people thought Willy Wonka's crazy. You stop yourself right now.
All right. So,
so what you're saying is Neil is Willy Wonka?
For soccer, perhaps. Give him a chance. Why you got to be mean?
Anyway,
I'm not being mean.
I saw Neil with a comment on Bruno. He said, "Oh, that Bruno. 1 week Benfica controls the league, then the next week they don't." So there you go. There's one of your big fans. Anyway, he asked us a question, which was, "Hey guys, just wondering if you think Porto will lose any remaining games." Then he asked the last questions, which I said yes.
Will they lose?
Yeah, Porto lose. Yeah.
I
that's Neil's question.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, you got it.
I won't be naive and say, we're going to win them all and we're going to get 12 points out of it. No, I think I think we're gonna drop a game somewhere, but it's gonna be a draw. I foresee maybe a draw, but not a loss. A
Mhm.
loss would shock me.
That
A
would
loss would shock me.
Hey,
I would
that's footy, though, isn't it?
I would rather you guys win all the remaining games than for you guys to tie one. Please just either tie two, lose one, or win all of them.
I think
What?
Porto
What
can
are you
drop
going
points.
on about?
No, I see what he's saying because if we draw, that means and you guys win out, we're gonna win the league based on head to head.
Yep. Same number.
I see what he's saying.
I would rather be 2 points behind or win the league than stay with the same points and lose it. But
I think there's a prospect for Porto to drop points in every single game that they have. Their run up
Thank
is
you, Patty.
their run up
Yes.
is the second toughest after Sporting's, and it's close. It follows it
Of
closely.
course, yours is the hardest. Of course, it is.
Yeah, because we've got to play Benfica. We've got some tricky away games as well to go with that. But no, Porto plays Stilbo, which Stilbo I think got a result against Porto last year, didn't they? With
yeah, they tied 1-1.
João Carvalho and all that.
Yeah.
Marítimo away is going to be a tricky game. Feirense are always a difficult team to beat, and then on the last day going away to Guimarães could be quite tricky as well. So there's a prospect to drop points.
Yep.
There's a prospect to drop points in each of those games. So, yeah, Porto are going to have to
Buckle up.
just beat Porto and do what they do.
Or
but they are difficult games.
A blow up. That'd be great.
Only if Sporting beat Benfica as well. If not, I don't really care what happens.
Your dream stinks, Patty.
All right. Anyway, what about Steven? Do you think that Porto can lose a game? Do you think that they're going to lose a game?
I think it's likely if we continue to have inconsistent games like the Sporting game. Obviously, as a Porto fan, I would want them to get all 12 points. But just as Patrick was mentioning, all these teams are difficult. We didn't have the best results with them in the past. And I won't doubt that Guimarães game, I think that would be the one I would go 75% of the chances that we might lose that game against Guimarães.
Mm-hmm.
So
You really think so, Steven?
Yeah, I really think so, especially with Guimarães.
Wow.
Unless Porto,
I'm
has a momentum
very nervous
going
about.
Where are you nervous?
Unless Porto has a momentum.
I'm more nervous about Marítimo than I am Guimarães.
Fuck me, man. I can't get behind Marítimo at all.
Well, I mean, I'm just going based on numbers. I mean, Porto hasn't won there, and I think in 5 years.
Right, but
and in the last 6 games.
But Marítimo can't win. Marítimo can't get a damn result, man.
But hold on a second, Peter. You know how this works.
Early in the season.
Yeah, but Peter, you know how this works. Those numbers don't count, don't apply to when you play in the Big Three. When you play the Big Three, it's different numbers then.
Right.
Porto has not won in 5 years, and in the last 6 games there. They have not won, so it's loss or draws. Guimarães, we've been there before. We've played them before in the past this season, and we've had good results against them. I'm more worried about Marítimo because they're going to get up for that game, regardless if they have nothing to play for. Because now Porto, if you look at the schedule, they're playing against 2 teams that have something to play for, and they playing against 2 teams that have nothing to play for. Wednesday's game shot all chances for Marítimo to have any type of significance in the season, which was with, they were hoping that if Porto qualified for the final and they won, they would have, and if they hold on to the 5th place, they would have won to Europa League. Now there's no Europa League for Marítimo, so they have nothing to play for. In my opinion, those teams are very dangerous to play when they have nothing to play for because they're just going to throw out guys there and they're going to be like, all right, you guys go out and play and have fun. And they're just playing loose, no pressure. Porto has all the pressure in those games. Against Setúbal and against Feirense, those are going to be some tough games at home. if you look back at last season, those were the two games down the stretch where Porto tied at home, and that kind of decided the league
It's a beautiful thing.
amongst other factors, but
All right.
amongst other factors. But I mean,
Love it.
I don't understand why Steve sees it that way. I mean, I'm a little surprised that he said that. I was really thinking he was going to say the same thing was about Marítimo, because I know a lot of Portistas, they're very worried about Marítimo. They're not really worried about Guimarães. And maybe, who knows?
that's
Maybe he
why
might be
he's
right.
worried. Maybe
May-
that's why, because you guys are overlooking them.
He
Could be.
might be
Mhm.
worried
Could be.
about Maritim. Maybe you guys even drop points twice in a row. It doesn't
I
even-
hope you're both right.
Man, if they all they need is 2 draws, right? If they tie twice, Benfica goes first, right?
Guimarães manages Bezedo, isn't it? So
It is.
there's a little link there.
Yeah, man. Come on. All right. Anyway, so getting to the questions. So
There is one that I can't find, but I think it's because we're so late and I've just lost it. But somebody was asking us if we think that Sporting is doing so well because of Bruno Carvalho.
I thought about that myself, to be honest with you. I really think that might be something that there might be something going on over there. Maybe this was the rallying cry that Bruno Carvalho was hoping for, where he's getting, his players to play for him now. It is very possible because, Sporting is actually playing well in these last couple of games. They played well against Atletico Madrid. They played well against Paços Ferreira. They played well against Belenenses. I mean, they're peaking at the right time. But let's also look back. If this form continues, we all know the rivalry between Sporting and Benfica. The team that's usually playing the worst is the one that usually wins. And Benfica, I've been saying it for weeks, hasn't looked very good. They had a decent half against Porto, and then in the second half, they were a bunch of bums. And Sporting has been they're putting first and second halves together, and they're getting results. There's something to say there. You guys better drop a game right before Benfica, so you guys can take that game.
No. It'll be
All right.
perfect. Leave it alone.
All right, Patrick. Real quick, what do you think? Do you think that it has any implications with Carvalho or not?
Nah, not really. I don't think. I'm one of the fans that don't think Sporting were playing that badly before.
You're one of the few. It's like a handful of you.
Yeah, I don't think we were playing that badly before the comments and the loss to Atletico, and I don't think we're playing that much better now. Obviously, it helps in hindsight that you obviously got the result by your side, and perhaps that there is an element that the players are more together now and all that. So from a perspective of like harmony in the camp, maybe there is that bond there that players will go out and fight for each other. But I generally got the impression that they were doing that already, and my opinion of the squad hasn't changed from what it was. I'm happy with what they're doing, and obviously I expected better. We did have some poor games, particularly since the turn of the year. But I put that down to the nature of football. So we're doing well. We're fighting, but I always thought we were fighting anyway. So that's where I stand.
All right.
I honestly think it breeds resentment. I know you're trying to move on, Peter, but
No,
I'll be
it's
honest
okay.
with you. If anybody did that to me, I'd be like, "You're an asshole." Like, yes, I'm going to play well, but it's to show, despite your stupid actions, that I'm a professional player, and I would be talking to my agent and be like, "Listen, we got to get the fuck out of here."
But on that,
I agree with that.
I saw today there was a CMTV, which is trash TV in my opinion. They were trying to plug a story that how the Sporting president was all jumpy and excited at the fact Sporting were clamping Porto down in the cup and all the players were ignoring him. I think we're going to see a lot of that like propaganda stuff, not just from CMTV but other publications. I think, and I'd say that's all rubbish now.
It's not a non-story, but it's like it's
But
something that you
it will be
expect.
blown out of proportion.
But, like, yeah, obviously. But
Obviously,
it's better than it should.
I said last week there will be players that
Yeah.
feel that they won't forgive Bruno Carvalho for what he did,
No,
but
exactly.
I do think the majority and perhaps all of them will, if they have anything against the president, they'll keep it on mute for the time that they're at the club.
Because they're professional.
Yeah, but I don't. They will start to come out with this sort of in a camp conflict and how the president is isolated and all that. But to me, that's all rubbish.
It kind of made me laugh how he had to like on his own. I really wanted to watch him crawl, but I'm just an ass. When he's like on his own trying to like walk out, I was like, what an asshole. No one cares. They're all celebrating. Get off the field.
But he's won over a lot of fans back. I think a lot of people have a lot of people feel that Sporting are playing better now, and a lot of people also share that sentiment.
Back, to be honest, I just think that the same people that wanted to back him up already, but I'm hearing the same argument from the ones that protected his posts. Basically, is what I'm saying. I haven't seen anybody that was against what he did on Facebook and now saying, "Oh, it's thanks to that we're playing this well." Basically, if you know what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was just making sure because you kind of stopped talking there. That was.
Awkward silence.
I was expecting you to say something else, but honestly, I don't think he turned any fans. I think the ones that were already okay with his Facebook posts were the ones that are backing him up now, saying that's why the team's playing well. Anyway, then Josie asked us something that I believe we already answered, but anyway. He asked, RV is under heavy criticism by fans after the Porto loss. Is it fair or foul considering Benfica has won? He said 3 in a row under him, but obviously 2 in a row under him. Quick answers, everybody. I think we talked about it pretty much, but what do you guys think?
Say that one more time. The question.
Basically, is it fair for Benfica fans to criticize Vitória after the loss against?
No, they should criticize. They should criticize Orelhas if he gets caught with this corruption scandal and they lose all their titles. That's where they should be really upset about.
Maybe I'll call Pintacosta and use his lawyer too, huh?
No, they are all lawyered up. I don't think they need any more. They have 4 different agencies. They don't need one more, do they?
All right.
Yeah, but Pintacosta's is proven in it.
Let's not
proven innocent. Proven innocent.
We can't get into it.
No, we can't, because it's a big circle and we just keep going to go round and round.
Patrick, I think we touched about this, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's unfair. At the end of the day, I'll come back to what I said. You lose to a rival, and as much as it hurts to lose against a rival, you have to respect that. A side like Porto is a good side, and when it comes down to a goal in the last minute, you just have to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and go again, because there's still so much to play for anyway. So if you're still in the title race, then the manager must be doing something right. So hold on to that and fight till the end.
But don't you guys, as Benfica fans, don't you guys believe that it seems like you guys are defeated, the season's over? That's what it seems like to me.
No. Yeah, that's why I got so salty. And I swear to God, I was in my room and I was like, and I was leaning back and I was like, I'm not mad.
Did you get salty when you were looking up at the ceiling with that poster over your bed?
I was mad. I was mad at our fans, and I think I agree with you that a lot of people feel like we've been defeated, and it's just ridiculous to think about that. Because we're not defeated.
Right, listen, everything is still in play. The season's not over. I mean, the way the press, the way the press is carrying itself, it seems like the season's over. Benfica has no chance.
What they're doing is even hyping out Sporting to jump Benfica, which come on. Obviously there's a possibility.
Which if they can jump us, why the fuck can't we win? What the hell?
Right? They're hyping up the fact that Sporting can finish in second and Benfica third, but they're almost handing out the title to Porto, which obviously they're favorites. This game could be what was 2 years ago when Benfica beat Sporting and then they win the remainder of the games. Obviously, Porto can do that and win the remainder of the games, but you know they already feel like they handed the title out.
Well, I think that's my question was to all Benfica fans. Like emotionally, do you feel like your team is going to be able to bounce back from this loss?
Yes, we
You
are.
Well, that's a question because in the past they haven't, and this late in the year. So I think it all seems what's going to happen with Sturil. Sturil's going to be a tough game. I think that, and I don't know if you guys are going to pass that game based on it depends on your emotion because if things are not looking good and Sturil plays the way they played against Porto in the first half and Sporting all game long, you guys are gonna struggle a lot and there's no genres, correct?
Yeah, no genres. But Bruno, what are you talking about? Benfica struggling in these type of situations. I mean, when was the last time we saw that?
We
We
were
saw that
tied with
years
you up
ago.
until
4
the
years
89th
ago?
minute.
Like 4 years ago? Was that when we saw these struggles?
Remember, these last couple of years, you got a little Impronzinho, but no, the Impronzinho is not there. It's still
So wait,
there.
we're not
But listen,
corrupt?
you're mixing things up because
Oh no, I'm not.
Hi, Bruno.
Oh, yes, you are.
What you were saying is that Benfica, feels this pressure and they might crumble. That hasn't happened for about 5 years because Benfica has always been, in the final, I don't know, 7, 8 games of the year, they have always been first. So it's not the same pressure of being behind. So I don't know what your question is coming from because we haven't seen this type of response from Vitória, or when we did was early in the season and they bounced back
Uh,
quite well. So that's why I'm not getting.
I'll repeat it for you, so I don't think you listen correctly. The last couple of years, you've had a little Impronzinho at the end of the year. It was when you were struggling, and then all of a sudden, some dubious calls were made, and now the masquerade has fallen.
The freaking Zivkovic penalty. I'm an idiot.
Do you really think that was a penalty, Peter?
100%.
Honestly,
100%.
think for a second.
That's 100%.
I've seen That's a what?
100% a penalty. He pushed them.
Oh my lord, dude!
Pushed off the
Listen,
ball. Penalty. Clear.
pushed off the ball where he runs into the back of Ricard Pereira. If you're an attacking player and you run into the back of a defender and you fall sideways, you have to hit the gym. That's what it's called.
Zivkovic was actually the first to make contact with Ricardo's arms. So I thought it was soft anyway, but with that detail in there, I don't think it was a penalty either.
If that's a penalty, then I'm sorry. Soccer can be no longer a contact sport.
Right? Whatever.
No, I mean, listen. I mean, you really listen. You can't sit here. You can't sit here and complain about the officiating in this game because we all remember what happened at the start of the Dragon with that. I mean, it's probably the most scandalous offside in history of soccer.
It was a terrible call. I'm not denying that, but he wasn't because there was another one that was worse than that. So let's not get.
Well, hold on. Which one? The penalty on Luizo?
No, my con was extreme. Was way offside too, and that decided the title.
No, it didn't. What decided the total was Proença in that game. 2 plays before that didn't see a double handball on Cardozo.
Yeah,
double handball. Not one, 2 handballs.
Make it 2-2. Come on, man. Let's move on from this.
Mas pronto, I'm just saying. Benfica fans can't complain about that.
What else do you want to say? Huh?
Eu digo tu tens que you have baby wipes to give out over there at your house.
I do have baby wipes. Don't worry about that.
Because we're almost going 2 hours, so we kind of need to get it up. But anyway, so I'm sure that
wait for 1 second. Josie's on our chat, and he's saying that Bruno, you live in the past. You probably have a VHS, and you use the yellow pages. Because you're old. You don't even use Twitter. Mm-hmm.
Facebook's better, he says. All right. So this one
who's this, Josie?
José Pereira. He's a sportingista.
No, the only thing I got to say to Josie is the following. He has 16 years. I don't talk to guys that don't win titles in 16 years. That's all I gotta say.
Again, living in the
All right,
past.
all right. So I'm gonna direct this question to Patrick, and then I'm gonna direct it to you, Cynthia, because I find it interesting. And I think, all right. Anyway, Patrick, you're more neutral, and I want to see what you think about this question. Basically, he asked, who we thought is under criticism for not going for the win late against Porto. But what would be the reaction if Rui Vitória went more offensive with his late subs and conceded a goal trying to score instead of preserving the point?
That's a good point.
That's
Who's
the
that?
thing.
That was Zé Pereira too. That was Josie.
That's Josie.
Yeah, that's what we need to think about these decisions, because that could have very easily happened. Rui Vitória could have, as I said, his plan worked, I think, which was to secure the draw at a time where Porto were on top. And had it not been for a goal from range, his plan would have worked. But he could have gone in there and thought, you know what, let's go 4-4-2 instead of 4-3-3 with Samaris and Fazer holding it in the middle. He could have gone for 4-4-2 with Seferovic up front with Jimenez or whatever, and Porto stick one or two past Benfica, and then Benfica lose anyway. So these are decisions that managers have to make, and sometimes it's easy to shout from our couches at the TV screen or in the stadium or whatever. But every plan has a counter, and it doesn't even, you don't even need a counter for a plan to fail. Any incident, mistake from the referee, or like a freak occasion, and your plan is underwater. So it's managing is complex. It really is. So that's why I say with the fine details in that game, I don't put any blame on Rui Vitória, and it's very easy to come out in hindsight and say, oh, you should have done this and should have done that. That's where I stand on it.
All right. Well, Cynthia, I don't know, but you want to weigh in on this. What do you think?
I think that there's just a group of haters against RV. So he's damned if he does, and he's damned if he doesn't. And it doesn't matter. He was winning. He got into that stride that I spoke about. So they stopped. They backed off a bit. But, the game was decent. Pardon?
It's not even like just against Rui Vitória. I think that comes for everyone. For example, Conceição was just on the Sporting game. Conceição was getting criticised for not using Marega and all that, but he could genuinely have played Marega, and Marega gets injured, and then all of a sudden we're thinking, why did you put Marega on and cost him the season? And
exactly.
So there's situations for every manager that they have to watch out for, and us lot that have the easy job just have to watch and suffer
and criticize
watching as well. We've got the easy ride.
Definitely.
All right. I don't know if Bruno kind of wants to weigh in on this. What do you honestly think would be our reaction? As Benfica fans, if we still maybe go for the win and Porto, take advantage of us going for the win and end up winning the game, maybe 2.
It would have been upset.
It really all depends on the circumstances on how everything unfolds. I mean, listen, we're still 1 month away from deciding who the title holder is. So, I mean, there's still a lot of things that can play. Who knows? We can say, we're talking about, we're debating all about Porto and Benfica. Porto and Benfica could lose these 2 games, or this game this weekend, and Sporting wins, and all of a sudden we got a 3-team race again.
Oh,
so
God.
Let's slow things down. Everyone's got a tough game this week. Sporting's playing against the Boa Vista that is with no pressure. That's a dangerous game. Porto has Stubble, who's trying to get away from relegation. That's a dangerous game. Benfica's playing against Estoril, who's in relegation danger. That's a dangerous game. Braga just won their game. They're applying some pressure from behind. Dude, there's a lot of different things that are going on right now. I know, and I hear a lot of Portuguese talking about, well, we'll never lose on Monday. No, blah blah blah. We got a sold out stadium. Yeah, you know what? We had a sold out stadium against Stubble last year, and we ended up tying the game. So let's calm down. Porto's strikers haven't scored in 8 straight games. Keep that in mind. 8 straight games.
That good. Remember that?
No, it's called they're coming off of injury. Number one. And they're not in good form because when they were before their injury, they were all in good form. You can't say that they weren't. They were all scoring.
I was just adding to my point that I don't think Abubakar is that good. That's all.
Listen, the guy scores. And listen, the guy scores internationally. I know one striker that scores a lot in the Portuguese league, but when he goes international, Nepias.
I would rather have him score 35 goals per year in Portuguese league than to score 15 divided by 15 in the Campeonato and 15 in the Champions League. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I don't know if you guys have anything else to say now.
I think that was
well, that's you did.
Exactly. So, all right. So good to go.
All right.
So thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Steven. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Bruno, for coming on.
You're welcome.
Back next week.
Adios, everyone.
And we'll see you guys then.